Back before the one-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Metro Globe Network's Krishna also sat with Russian ambassadors in Indonesia, Her Excellency Ambassador Lydmila Vorobieva, to talk about it and also other issues as well.
And here is the first part of the interview.
Sunday, the 24th of February 2023 will mark 1 year since the start of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. To discuss more, I am joined by Russia's ambassador to Indonesia, Her Excellency Ambassador Lydmila Vorobieva. Your Excellency, thank you so much for speaking to MGN.
Thank you so much.
Madam Ambassador, as I mentioned, February the 24th, 2023 will mark 1 year since the start of the conflict. When will the conflict end, Madam Ambassador? Will end soon?
That's a very good question. You know, as any normal person, normal people, Russians also would like to see this conflict end as soon as possible, because we have no hatred against Ukrainians. As our president stated, we're not conducting a war against Ukrainian people. We don't want to see Ukrainian people suffer. We don't want to see Russian people suffer, of course, but as our president stated very clearly yesterday in his address to the parliament, that our operation will progress carefully and steadily, and all the targets set out will be achieved. So the operation will go on until all the targets that we have identified will be achieved.
Right. In terms of a peace deal, however, what are the obstacles or challenges towards that? And will we see maybe some negotiations anytime soon?
The problem is that the roots of this crisis are much deeper than just Russian-Ukrainian confrontation, and it doesn't started just 1 year ago. It's a very complex situation and not easy to resolve. And may I remind you that the party who withdrew from the peace negotiations that were conducted between Russia and Ukraine last year in Turkey was Ukraine. And it happened exactly after the then Prime Minister of Great Britain Boris Johnson visited Kiev. And immediately after that, Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, gave the order to the Ukrainian delegation to stop and withdraw, to pull out of the talks. And we were on the brink of having a settlement, of reaching an agreement with the Ukrainians. That would be actually good for both sides. But these negotiations were stopped, and they were stopped by the West. And by the West, I mean, of course, the United States and their allies. And the problem is the West doesn't want this conflict to be resolved sometime soon. They want this conflict to last, and they are using Ukraine as a military instrument against Russia, because their aim, as our president stated yesterday in his address, to have a strategic victory over Russia, or to make Russia defeat strategically. That's what they want to achieve. So by any means, they're trying to make this conflict last, arming Ukrainian armed forces, sending more defense equipment. You heard about news about the tanks. Actually, our president commented on that, you know, that Germany should remember what happened when their tanks were on Russian territory during World War II. They were destroyed. That will happen to any foreign equipment that comes to Russian territory as well. The government in Ukraine, President Zelensky, there is no meaning in starting negotiation with them, because they are not independent. They are taking orders from the West. And whatever they say, whatever beautiful words they pronounce, it's just a facade. We don't see any intention, neither from Kiev nor from the West, to stop this conflict. Again, just a couple of days ago, I read an article in Jakarta Post by Josep Borrell, the head of the European Commission. He stated very clearly, we cannot allow Russia to win on the battlefield. It's a very clear position. So that means that they instigate a very dangerous illusion in Ukrainians that they can win Russia on the battlefield. Yesterday our president said, you cannot win Russia on the battlefield. They need to remember history. You know, what happened to the Napoleon troops in the 19th century? They were ousted from Russia and Russian troops were in Paris. What happened when Hitler invaded Russia? Our troops were in Berlin. So this conflict is not about Ukraine. Ukraine is the victim of the neo-colonial policies of Western countries, and it's a tragedy for Ukrainian people that they are dragged by their government who are puppets of the West. And